Hello and welcome to the Empire State Trail Weekly Update. A look at the latest news from across the Erie Canalway and the Empire State Trail. And this is the update for August 16th to August 22nd, 2026. And we're looking at Fairport, the live cam this morning, and it's a rather cool morning for the middle of August. There's a bit of a breeze, and certainly is cool here in Port Byron, and don't see a lot of people out here in Fairport. Let's get on with the trail closures and conditions. So there's the list here from the empiretrail.newyork.gov site. Last update was about 3 weeks ago, but there's been no changes that I've seen here. Everything seems to be the same as it was last week. And moving on to the Cycle the Canalway Trail from our friends at Parks and Trails New York. The two major construction projects impacting your ride along the Canalway Trail is the ongoing work at Ralph Wilson Park, the old LaSalle Park here in Buffalo, where there's a 2.5 mile detour through the downtown. And then you get out towards Durhamville. You got the short detour here around the aqueduct work. And then the major detour here in Utica, where you're being taken off the trail through downtown Utica over to Whitesboro and around. So that's the ones that are popping up. And as always, the folks at Parks and Trails New York want you to know that they do actively survey the Erie Canalway Trail for closures and issues, and they will post them if they see them on the Hudson Valley or the Champlain Valley, but that's not their primary focus. So just be aware of that when you're checking this map. Just make sure to go back and check this one for the official listing of closures. So moving on to some policy news. This popped up in my Facebook feed last night. The Village of Pittsford Local Law Number 3, and they enacted this, or they adopted it, but it has to be approved, I think, by the Department of State for it to become law. They're going through, it's basically interactions between bicyclists, whether it be a standard bicycle or an e-bike or one of those e-motos, anything propelled by electricity where the person's not walking. The reason I bring this Local Law Number 3 up is because on page 3 we have that the bicycles, electric bikes, electric scooter riding is prohibited on the Erie Canal towpath between Main Street Bridge and the State Street Bridge. And dismounting of all such vehicles on the towpath is required. And they'll have signs up and everything. So if you're riding through the area and you're not familiar with the local law, you could get a ticket. According to this. So if you see a sign that says you must dismount and walk, I know most of us will look around and say, okay, we'll just keep, you see them on bridges all the time, you must dismount and walk across. Okay, I'll ride very slow or whatnot. But just be aware that, you could get a ticket here. I think down at Schoen Place, it's so busy and everything. Most of this law is pertaining to interactions between pedestrians and bicycles and motorized bicycles on the sidewalks, where a real cyclist is not going to be on the sidewalk. But they are kind of defining the Erie Canalway Trail or the towpath as a sidewalk for this law. So just be aware of that. And I don't know if this is a backlash to the issues from e-bikes, people zipping along with e-bikes, the e-motos, but seeing a lot of pushback now, and especially on the Empire State Trail Facebook page. You post anything about an e-bike, and people go crazy. I mean, a lot of the people who are, this is a place for bicyclists, not e-bikes, and electric assisted e-bikes, the class 1s certainly have their uses. I mean, people who have mobility issues, these things really help out. If you're a little bit older, you want to keep up with the group, But the reason I'm bringing this up, because I'm not going to get into a policy argument, but just know what you have, know what your class 1, class 2, class 3 are. And if you're riding a bike that will just go without pedaling, and you can just hit the throttle assist and it takes off, consider, are you riding an e-bike or an e-motorcycle? Because e-motorcycles do not have any place on the Canalway Trail, and we're certainly seeing them out there an awful lot. And and these things are just rolling in now. The policy arguments are starting to catch up with what's happening in the real world. And if you're following anything, just turn on e-bikes or type in e-bikes to your YouTube feed, and you will see all kinds of stuff. Where in Britain, they're actually confiscating these things and destroying them. They're handing out tickets left and right. So the policy issues, the governmental issues, are finally catching up to what's actually happening. I think this is happening in New York City with the new mayor and Amazon selling electric bikes. So here's e-bikes are everywhere in river towns. Here's what happens when one crashes. E-bike or bike and e-bike safety are needed, and the biggest thing, if you're out there commenting on this, define what an e-bike and an e-motorcycle are, and push back on this, because these e-motorcycles, like I say, they're a lot of kids out there riding them, no helmets. They're going like a bat out of heck, and and people see that and they say, oh, it's an electric bike. No, it's not. It's an electric motorcycle. If you've got turn signals, you've got fenders, if you've got 4-inch tires on that thing, if that thing will go from 0 to 30 within a couple seconds, I mean, that's an e-motorcycle, and they should be regulated. So just be aware of this. Push back where you see the people confusing the two. Be nice. Say, that's an e-motorcycle. We agree with that, but we stand up for your e-bike rights. But certainly these e-motorcycles, I'm happy as heck if they crack down on those things. So what else is in the news? Well, Governor Hochul has announced the start of a $62 million project in North Genesee Street in Utica. And the North Genesee Street Bridge over the Mohawk River and Erie Canal will be replaced with new shared use paths, and that will be built to enhance safety for pedestrians and cyclists. And here's where the Canalway Trail goes through here, and here's where the bridge work will be. This is the section that's closed right now anyway, but sounds like they're going to be replacing all this infrastructure right in here. And it's always nice to see that new bridges have bike lanes and facilities for pedestrians. And here we have New York State Parks breaks ground on new bridges that connect communities along the Genesee Valley Greenway. And this is another trail adjacent work. And we talked before on this podcast or vlog or whatever you want to call this thing about the Southern Tier Trail, which they want to build down through here. It would come down, and so this is going to make a nice loop. The bridge work is all down in this area here. So in a way, it's kind of further enhancing that the Genesee Valley Greenway and making a future loop possible. So someday you'll be able to ride down through here and ride back up to Buffalo on different trails. So it's nice to see. And this popped up because I'm scrolling through different trail news, and it said, oh, you must want to know about rails to trails or whatnot. And so this popped up, Ulster County. And I only bring this up because they have a report maintenance issues, fallen trees, contact Ulster County DPW, and they give you a number. And that's really nice. There are so many times where you see a post, there's a tree down, who do I call? Sometimes Parks and Trails picks up, sometimes the local community picks up and says, okay, we'll notify so-and-so. This gives you a direct number. So if you're in Ulster County or on any other trails, and you see an issue, a washout, a tree down, here's a number you can call. And the other big news this week has been that the Warm Showers website has been down. And they put out a notice that something had gotten into their website and was posting fake messages, and they went in and found out that there were bigger problems than they initially thought. They thought it would be down for a couple days. Now they're saying it's going to be down, I think, I said hopefully by August 25th. But this is right in the heat of the, when people are using this site. And so if you're on Warm Showers, go to the Facebook page and, try to find people that way. There's a lot of people on there saying, hey, I had plans to meet with so-and-so, and I don't know their name. I don't know their contact information. How do I get a hold of them? And of course, not everybody on Warm Showers is on Facebook, so it's making it very difficult for people to make the connections, and they have to do some replanning. They're hoping by August 25th, but if you're using Warm Showers, just be aware that on the Parks and Trails site, the Bike Empire State site, the Bike Erie Canal site, the Hudson Valley Greenway sites, they all have listings of campsites you can find and whatnot. So there are alternates, but we have our hideaway listed on Parks and Trails as a Warm Shower stop, so people can find us if they need us. But this is just a major inconvenience when your website goes down during the riding season. And I don't know if they had any choice in this. And here's just another caution about using Google Maps. People love to use their Google Maps, but it still does wacky things. And here I typed in, I want to ride my bike from my home here in Port Byron out to Savannah. And I have bicycle clicked here, and I naturally think it's going to take me along Route 31 along the Erie Canalway Trail. But it does everything but. It takes me way north out through Spring Lake. It takes me way south. It takes me through the nice rolling hills around Montezuma. It takes me away from the trail here along 89. It's just going all over the place. So if you're using Google Maps for navigation and you want to follow the Erie Canalway Trail or the Hudson Valley Trail or the Champlain Valley Trail, make sure that you have waypoints clicked along the way, that it's going to force it to use that. Here's another one I did going from my house to DeWitt on the other side of Syracuse. And if you're not familiar, you're coming in on the Canalway Trail here to Bridge Street, and then the axle route goes over Bridge Street, goes up here along the lake, comes out along the lake, runs out this way by Hiawatha, and it comes along the Inner Harbor, and then uses Erie Boulevard. Well, you can see here that Google Maps is taking you everywhere but. And so, if you're wanting to hold true to the cycling to Canalway Trail and you're using Google Maps, just be careful, because you may find yourself out somewhere you don't want to be. Moving on to the calendar, speaking of Syracuse, another week and a half, the State Fair will be happening. So this area in here will be very congested around the fairgrounds. So you may want to use this route here just to get around it. But there are other routes that you can take. Just instead of going through the fairgrounds, you go over Bridge Street, and then you just kind of cut this corner here over to the Lake Trail. The normal route has you going up over here and around and down through here, and you can just kind of hack that off by going this way. So it's just be aware of that. There's going to be a lot of people in that area for that week and a half at the end of the month. And what else? What's next month? Then you get into the Tugboat Roundup. Always nice to see. If you're in the Albany area, ride your bike over to see it. And cycle the U.S. Erie Canalway Trail Tour, and that'll be happening from the 12th to the 20th. So if you're a village or a business along the Canalway Trail, You can expect to see some people popping through then. And that's it for this Empire State Trail Weekly. Please note that this is an independent weekly update and is not affiliated with New York State, the Canal Corporation, or any official trail agency. Information is based on publicly available sources and rider reports. And remember to give this a like and subscribe. Share your thoughts on e-bikes and e-motorcycles. Share your thoughts on getting off and dismounting your bike and walking through busy areas. And we will see you next week.